my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Tatum drives down and throws it down. Wow!
To throw, rainbows it down the right side for Kyle Pitts. He's got it. He's there. Touchdown. Oh my!
Oh my indeed. Welcome back everyone to the Sports Bits podcast with Moko. Finally got someone else to talk with me today. We got Reed on the podcast. We honestly, funny enough, we were texting about this. Like, I didn't expect to record tonight because I got out so late from work. And then Reed's like, boy, are we recording or not tonight?
You said 9:30 and it's like 10 o'clock. I'm like, God, what are we doing?
I didn't even get home till 10 o'clock. I was like, nah, Reed's going to be like immobilized in bed or watching the game or something like that. He's not going to be want to record, but he wanted to record. So, I love it.
I was ready.
All right. Yeah.
Last week, so I'm ready.
There is plenty of stuff to talk about, especially because first thing I actually wanted to get your opinions like quickly before we run into the stuff we talked about, briefed ourselves earlier. Like, what are your thoughts on the Danny H and Brad Stevens stuff? Like, real quick, as like an outside NBA fan, like just quick thoughts on that.
You mean like Brad Stevens going
to be president? Yeah, and then Danny H retiring.
I think it's interesting. I'm gonna say that I didn't expect it. Because I've only known Brad Stevens as a coach. So it did catch me a little off guard, but I think that he's definitely a good leader and we've seen him do good things on the Celtics. So I think he's going to be a great front office piece, but at the same time, now the Celtics have to bring in another good coach because Brad Stevens was obviously a very good coach. So the Celtics need to bring in someone that, is equally as good as him.
Yeah. If Woj actually tweeted this out from sources that there's a list of potential coaches that Brad Stevens is looking at. So the first one and the biggest name that everyone wants is Chauncey Billups from the Clippers.
Right.
I think that'd be great. And then you have Darvin Ham and Charles Lee from the Bucks. I've never heard of those guys. Jamil, I don't know how to say this. Is Jamahl Mosley, assistant coach for the Mavericks, and then Ime Udoka from the Nets. One of your assistant coaches.
Okay.
So that's the list of coaches that are potentially getting interviewed for the job. I mean, Chauncey Billups stand up. I like that. Ime Udoka, I've heard of his name before. I like that. These other two guys I haven't really heard of. And
yeah, I mean, the only name I recognize is Chauncey Billups, but I think he's an assistant for the Clippers right now.
Yeah, I think he's only looking at assistants currently because there's no. I don't think he wants Scott Brooks or like Terry Stotts or any of these failure coaches.
Head coach.
I think he wants like a builder up or like a fixer up or not like or like a up and coming. That's the word I'm for. Up and coming coach. So. So what do you think of those names real quick before we move on?
I mean, like I said, Chauncey Billups is really the only one that I recognize, but I think it's a really good idea for Brad Stevens to look at, a young up and coming coach because the Celtics are a young up and coming team. I mean, they're not as young now, but they're still young with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, Robert Williams, ton of pieces that are super young guys. So I think it would actually be a really good dynamic to kind of have a coach that's in a similar-ish position to that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and same thing with Brad Stevens was a young coach as well when he came in, so maybe he's trying to get the same kind of energy and type of, I guess, coach that he was when he came in, and then
I'm sure he values just like that young fire, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, he kind of just wants something like that.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean that just came out. I have no clue. I haven't done my research on the assistants because I never really heard anything come out of them because we've mainly heard about the head coaches like Ty Lue from the Clippers, example. Steve Nash from the Nets because Ime Udoka is in that in the list. Rick Carlisle from the Mavs, and he's been doing a really good job despite how they're performing in the playoffs. But I think he's been done a really good job. So again, I don't know much about these assistants. I might do more research when the list gets shorter, maybe like the top 3 coaches. But for right now, it looks like a good list. We'll see what Brad Stevens does. I have confidence that he'll pick up somebody good. Like he's not going to pick up Scott Brooks. No.
Brad Stevens is definitely a smart enough guy to pick a good coach. So I think the Celtics are in really good hands right now with him in the front office.
I agree. So let's move on to the playoff basketball. Since the Celtics are not here, we're going to be talking about just anything that happens in the playoffs. We're just going to be a regular NBA podcast till the offseason happens, and then we can talk about potential things like Kemba trades and all that stuff. That's a little bit rumored what we're going to talk about.
I think is coming. I think that I think he wants out and the Celtics do not want him anymore.
Yes. So lots of stuff to talk about in the offseason and the draft. So, because we do have a couple picks that when I looked at our draft capital. We do have some top picks like the Memphis pick this year, so that might be a decent pick. So we'll see. Anyway, speaking of other teams, let's first talk about the Mavericks, since they got eliminated by the Clippers, and that was the most exciting series to watch because I think it's the first time in NBA playoffs that both teams won all their away games except for the last one, of course, because the Clippers won at home, Game 7, but
all won by away teams.
One game, away games, exactly. So, I mean, I don't know how to really start this because I kind of predicted. I predicted Mavs at 7, so that I guess I read wrong. Maybe I don't know what happened. I guess Kawhi is finally turning up at the right time because now he's actually performing decently well in the second round. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Mavs being eliminated?
So I watched, I think, at least like 5 of their games, I think, and something that I noticed definitely was Porzingis and just the lack of production from him as a 7'3" power forward. I don't know. It was just really strange to watch him pretty much just fall apart, honestly. I think it was really bizarre, but at the same time, you got to give credit to Kawhi, who just went Terminator mode, forced the Game 7. I think he had like 45 points and a double-double, and then I think he also dropped like 45 again in Game 7. And he shot the ball. He's been shooting, I think the Mavs series, he was shooting like 60% from the field, averaging, upwards of 25 to 30 points a game. So he had a great series. And I think the Clippers should be kind of worried though, because I don't know how well they're going to stack up against another team that's good in the West, such as the Jazz or the Suns or the Nuggets, because we've seen that Paul George is still having
playoff P still having troubles.
Pandemic P. He's still in the building. And I don't know why, because Paul George has like everything. To me, he has everything going for him. He's a good perimeter defender. He's 6'7". He's like great size, and he had a great offensive skill set. Like, when he was in Indiana, he was going toe to toe with LeBron. And now he's just not shooting the ball well. So I think
do you know why? Because he gave himself the nickname Playoff P. You never give yourself a nickname, and ever since then he's been going down the drain.
Seriously,
so that's what I've noticed. But it's funny you bring up Porzingis. I was actually going to talk about Porzingis. Like, obviously you said everything you need to say about Porzingis. He seems to be inconsistent, injury prone, and I think the Mavs front office might be considering trading him because he is a big salary filler. And you're gonna have to pay Tim Hardaway in the offseason, which I think they will. I'm pretty sure they will. Because I think Tim Hardaway minus a couple of games in the playoffs, he's performed really well as a second complimentary piece. So
Porzingis, like you said, he takes up so much salary space, and he's even like expressed his
discontent.
Discontent, disdain, or whatever for being like a second option, or not even like a second option. He feels like I think he said like a sidekick as opposed to like a co-star. But when you play like the way that he's been playing, obviously you're not going to be a co-star against Luka.
He's not playing to his $30 million contract, is what I'm saying.
Like he is not worth that right now. He's just not playing that well. I think they definitely need to get rid of him. Otherwise, they're going to be in the same issue, the same problem. They're going to do pretty well in the regular season, and then he's probably going to get injured. They're going to do mediocre for the rest of the season while he's injured. And then they're going to come to the playoffs. He's going to come back, and then we're all going to realize that he's just not as good as he should be. He's 7'3", and like he's kind of
takes threes.
Exactly. He's kind of built like.
Do you watch Dude Perfect? Do you watch Dude Perfect by any chance?
Yeah, kind of.
Did you watch the basketball pickup basketball stereotypes?
No, he's
the tall guy who shoots threes. I was gonna send you that kind of stuff on TikTok. I was like, wait, Porzingis is basically that pickup basketball player, the 7-foot guy who does not post up.
He's like, post up, you're 6'6".
You're 6'6", and he dribbles it out and shoots it in the corner. I'm like, oh my god.
And he bricks it like every time. That's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly.
Dude, perfect representation of this whole Mavericks team.
Seriously, Luka putting the whole team on his back, and then Porzingis completely crapping.
I just saw this. He's over 5 from 3 on Game 7.
Like, dude.
Oh my god.
I feel like he shouldn't even be taking that many threes.
No.
I mean, he was a pretty good shooter, but
Daniel Tice is a better 3-point shooter than he is.
Facts. I'd rather have Daniel Tice on the 3-point line.
Oh my god! But speaking of that, actually, this is a great segue because we're actually going to do this with Damian Lillard, but potential trade spots for Porzingis, like considering his health and his contract, like where do you think would be a good fit that has potential cap space for him? Because there's not many places that do have it.
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea. I think that he's probably going to have to go to a small market team if he really wants to be like the number one option. And even then, I think that there's like very few teams where I can see him being like the number one option. Just off the top of my head, I'm sure that there are some. But I mean, if he continues to play the way he does, then yeah, he's going to be a second, third option no matter where he goes. But I would like to see him go to a team that's kind of struggling, honestly. Like I could see him in Sacramento, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I could see.
I think he'd definitely be a step up from Bagley for sure.
That's what I'm saying. So I think Sacramento wouldn't be a bad idea. But that's really the only one I can think of off the top of my head because all the other teams that are coming to mind are doing well. You know, like I don't want to see him go to the Suns. You know, they have DeAndre Ayton. He's playing great. They don't need Porzingis. Like I just can't think of a team that needs like a 7'3" guy right now that's playing like the way he is.
I don't know because it's funny because I was looking at the teams and a lot of them have good centers or developing like young people, like young guys that like they probably don't want to take on like a Porzingis type contract or like whatever. Because I was thinking about the Pelicans.
Require a big contract. Oh, Pelicans, that's
but they have to pay Ingram and Zion as well.
And Lonzo, right? Lonzo's still.
I think they're going to keep Lonzo for how much like people say he's not as efficient, but I think they're going to keep Lonzo and keep that young core going.
Well, so Lonzo also kind of stepped his game up this season.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, nah, not the Pelicans. Kings is a good option. T-Wolves, nah. Thunder, they're trying to tank and they're trying to acquire young talent, so no.
And
Rockets
they have
Rockets have Christian Wood. Never mind. Nope.
Yeah, and Christian Wood's playing really well.
Exactly.
Like the Bulls have Vucevic. Magic actually.
Yeah, Magic is the only team I could see that landing because Cavs have Jared Allen and a young core that they're trying to develop as well. Pistons are starting to doing the same thing as the Thunder, basically trying to acquire draft capital and build up the young guys. So I mean, Hornets could see another spot maybe. I don't. Hornets with LaMelo, Gordon Hayward, and Porzingis could be a great thing because they really don't have any offensive bigs on their team.
All they have is Cody Zeller, and if someone comes in and he'll push Cody Zeller to the bench no matter what. I mean, I'm sorry, Cody, but
yeah, I think that'd be a good spot. So I'm gonna say for me, I think like the Magic or the Hornets for me, and then I mean that's really it. I don't think anyone else is cap space because I think Gordon Hayward. Yeah, I think the Hornets will have enough cap space with Miles Bridges and LaMelo with their rookie contracts. So yeah, they should have enough cap space. So yeah, I'll say the Hornets. But yeah, I mean any other
Magic are definitely good. I still stand by the Kings as well. Kings. I think he'd be good on the Kings.
I agree. Any other last comments about the Mavericks other than Luka? Still my MVP choice. Like he basically carried the Mavericks to Game 7.
Yeah, seriously, he put that whole team on his back. Nothing else other than Luka just was playing out of his mind. But he needs more help, Yeah. Or at least I think also a big problem was they kept going to Porzingis throughout the series. I think if they kind of just like stopped giving him shots, then maybe they would have played. They would have ended up with the dub. But is what it is.
Yeah, Tim Hardaway also didn't he's inconsistent, but he's still a good piece. And I wish he was a little more consistent to be that second option, but he isn't. We'll see what he does with his bigger contract. But I mean, I guess the next team we'll go on to is the Trailblazers because a big story came out of that team after they got eliminated with the Damian Lillard stuff. But just overall with the team stuff first, like, what are your thoughts on the Blazers getting eliminated that quickly against who are they playing? Again, who are Nuggets. Yeah.
I mean, Nuggets and Trailblazers, both really good teams. I get Jokic he's too hard to stop. Jokic is really difficult. And the Trailblazers, I could be wrong, but right off the top of my head, they're not known as a crazy defensive team other than like Nurkic, really.
Nurkic wasn't even that defensive.
Exactly.
good.
Yeah. So like, who's even there to
Oh,
stop Yo?
here's to help your point. The Trailblazers are ranked 29th out of 30th in the league for defense.
Yeah, exactly. They're
Oh my God.
who's the worst? Is it the Nets?
It might be because there's actually funny enough. The Portland Trailblazers are second in offense, but they're
that
29th in defense.
That's the same exact position that the Nets are in. I'm pretty sure the Nets are like number one offensive and the last defensive. But dude, I don't know. I think that Damian Lillard needs to, if he wants to win a ring, he's got to get out of Portland. You know, he can't stay there.
And actually, I'll say my comments real quick. And the Nets are, by the way, are 23rd in 23rd in defense. But my quick thing about the Blazers, Nurkic played like crap. That didn't help. And I mean, McCollum did what he could as a second option, so I think he played fine. I think Lillard basically played the Luka role and carried the team. Covington played all right. Norman Powell, looking at that trade, I'd rather have Gary Trent just because you would have him for longer, and I think he would have been more explosive in the playoffs because I think Norman Powell is just a vanilla Gary Trent type. They're both the same type of player. I think just Gary Trent would have been that energy and that explosiveness off the bench or wherever
both of them were playing. Gary Trent and Norman Powell were both playing well on their respective teams, on the Blazers and the Raptors when they were both on those teams, and then they traded, and then they both. Like I think Gary Trent continued to play pretty well, but Norman Powell definitely had to take a step back because Damian Lillard is obviously the main offensive piece to that team. Yeah,
and by the way, he what is it? Norman Powell averaged 17 points in the playoffs, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a solid production.
I'm quickly looking at the stats. No, so Gary Trent did not make the playoffs this year, but Norman Powell did, of course, because the Raptors were terrible this year. Yeah. Melo, I'm honestly I guess I can't rely on Melo anymore, can you? Like to be that takeover option, but he still played well.
I mean, he is old.
He is old, yeah. I'm just looking at the roster. Like I don't know what you do with this team because remember that McCollum is making like 30 plus mil and Damian's making 40 plus mil with this team. And then not to mention Nurkic's contract is not that great either.
Yeah, and they're still considered a small market team.
Yeah. Because who wants to play in Portland? Nobody, apparently, because
exactly, no one wants to go to Portland. Dame is the only thing that's like keeping Portland relevant right now. If he leaves, and they blow the team up, I don't know who's gonna come back to Portland. Who's gonna go to Portland? They're gonna have to rebuild based on the draft picks that they get if they do blow up the team.
Yeah, Nurkic is actually on a friendly contract, only 12 mil. And he definitely played like 12 mil because he was like apparently he averaged 5 turnovers or 5 personal fouls per game. He was basically almost fouling out every game. Yeah, that's apparently a stat I saw. So yeah, he was playing terrible. So
yeah, and he's not even like that great of a defender. So like, why is he?
He's serviceable at best, I would say.
Yeah. So like, why is he fouling that much?
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I was reading if you read the group me. I'm not gonna show this on screen because it's our little fraternity stuff, but it's just funny. I'm gonna let you read that. But I think we're gonna transition to. Actually, let me give some praise to the Nuggets. They played really well. And I really love how Aaron Gordon stepped into the role in the playoffs, and like he rarely got to play in the playoffs with the Magic, and I think he plays a serviceable role in the Nets. On the Nets, Nuggets.
Yeah,
I thought to give him props.
I agree with you too. I was like, yeah, Aaron Gordon on the Nets.
Gordon on the Nets. Yeah, I'm surprised that what's his name? Campazzo played decently well for being how short he is, but
yeah, dude, he's playing like surprisingly well
for sure. And he just got blocked by CP3 about 10 minutes ago, but we're not going to talk about it.
Tell me about that.
But yeah, I think Monte Morris, Austin Rivers, and Frank Campazzo stepped up to be great guard pieces without Jamal Murray there, so they didn't really lose anything. So
I actually
good job.
Like you said, what Aaron Gordon's doing. Sorry to cut you off, but like you said, what Aaron Gordon's doing for the Nuggets. I also really love what he's doing because he's not like he's not an amazing offensive player. He definitely has a game. There's no doubt about that. And he knows that. So like he's taking, I think, the perfect amount of shots. Like he's not taking shots away from other players. He's knocking his shots down. I think he was averaging like 16 points on the season, which is solid production. From that guy, he's playing like 25.
Are you talking about from Orlando or are you talking from Denver? Because he averaged 10 points on Denver.
10 points on Denver?
But he averaged 13.5 in the playoffs. So
Okay, so I think like what was his like field goal percentage and shots?
so let's do effective field goal, which accounts for twos, threes, and field goals. Or his free throws. He had an effective field goal percentage of 53%.
Okay, that's pretty good.
3-point percentage was 50% in the playoffs.
Really, he's shooting 50% from three.
From in the playoffs, and he shoots about 2.5 attempts per game. So that's pretty good.
That's solid, yeah. That's what I'm saying, man. He's not taking away shots from other pieces, but he's knocking the shots down when he has them.
Yeah, and let's see, defensive win shares about a 0.6, so that's okay. That's all they really need him to do. He's really good serviceable piece, just because Porter and Jokic are really taking that lead role on the team. So Eric Gordon does not have to step up like he did in Orlando. So
yeah, big step up for sure.
But yeah, let's move on to the Damian Lillard stuff, because I've already you want to tell the audience about the cryptic stuff that you were talking about earlier with the
Instagram? Yeah, so I think it was an Instagram caption or a tweet or something that he sent out, but it basically said actually let me see if I can find it, because that might take too long, but basically it boiled down to him like saying like, how long can I be like this loyal? He didn't like call out the Trailblazers or anything, but I think it's pretty obvious that he's talking about them. So I think that he is realizing that he's not going to be able to win a ring in Portland if they don't bring in the pieces that they need. But at the same time, you can't really bring in those kind of pieces when you have Dame, CJ on a small market team. They don't have the cap space to really bring in like that third option that's really going to like turn up and make them a championship contender. If he wants to win a chip, I think he needs to leave Portland for sure.
Or take a pay cut, which I would suggest, but he's not going to take a pay cut. So let's talk about trade options, because I want to bring this up first because I'm a Celtics fan. There is an option to trade him to Boston, because you have that big contract in Kemba to use as salary filler, and you have a ton of young guys that you can put in there, give to Portland to develop, so they can get younger and develop. I guess as a younger team, and then we can give a win now situation with if we have Damian Lillard and Jason Tatum and Brown. We still have our core guys from our team plus Damian Lillard would be amazing. I think that would be a good step up, and we can make a big run in the playoffs if we had that. Yeah, I think another team that came up.
Don't you think it's going to be kind of tough though for the Celtics to trade for Dame if they're not offering like, let's say, Jaylen Brown? Because as the Portland GM, if you come up to me and say, let's do straight up 1-for-1 Dame.
No. No, it's not going to be straight up. Like the trade would be, again, so Kemba, 2 to 3 young players, and then 2 to 3 draft picks. That would be the package just for Dame.
Yeah. Okay.
The big blockbuster trade. Like, it would not just be a straight up swap, because that'd be dumb.
I don't think no one in their right mind would go for that.
No one would go for that. But I think I think the Trailblazers GM is going to be really cautious about who they're going to trade for and like what they're going to need to get back for him. Another team that looked interesting to me was, actually, funny enough, either the Lakers or what was it? I think the Sixers.
I was saying Lakers or Heat.
Yeah. Again, I don't. You pack it like.
Oh, no! Wait, not to Dame. No. I was thinking of Kemba. My bad.
Yeah.
Who did I? Did I say anyone for Dame?
You said the Heat. I think you said the Heat when we were talking about it.
I said I could see him on the Heat. But,
yeah.
I don't know where Dame should go, honestly.
I think what I was looking at was Lakers or what did I say? Sixers. That's right. I'm looking for a win now team that can take on cap space and have tradable assets. So basically, I'm looking at the Sixers, looking at Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle being traded for a couple picks, and then you get so basically you would be pairing up Joel Embiid with Damian Lillard, which I think is a great pairing, better than Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. And you would still have Tobias Harris, so you would have those big. Basically, you have a big three in Philly with Lillard, Tobias Harris, and Embiid, and then the Lakers side, you would probably
Steph Curry as well on the Sixers.
You probably have to trade him, but if not, you would have another good complementary piece. But then the Lakers, you would trade Schroeder, Kuzma, whatever, and then you would have AD, Lillard, and LeBron.
Dude, Kuzma. Oh my
God. I know. We can talk about it all day. We can talk about the Lakers after real quick. But whatever about Kuzma. But point being, Lillard with the Lakers would be amazing. I think that'd be fun. Again, I'm looking for a win now team. I don't think Lillard is going to like a developing small market team like he is in the Blazers right now. So Let's go look at a
exactly.
win now, big market team.
If he's gonna leave Portland, he's gonna go to a championship contender or a team that will be a championship contender with his addition.
That's why I'm saying the Celtics. Yeah, as a Celtics fan. So I mean, the Nets don't really need him. I don't think you're gonna get Damian
Let's
Lillard.
get Dame. Let's have James Harden, KD, Kyrie Irving.
Let's have James Harden play the small
Dame
forward
Lillard.
position. That's a great idea. Hell no. Anyway, but yeah, that's like my thing. Like, did you want to say the Heat or anything else for the team wise?
I think I said the Heat when we were talking about Kemba.
Yeah.
I think I might have misspoke.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's really it. And let's move on to the Lakers because we were just talking about them. Did we talk? I don't think we didn't even talk about the Lakers this whole time.
No, we didn't
never
bring up
talked.
their LeBron's first round exit in his entire career.
I mean, that's surprising, but I'm also not surprised comparing to the team that he had to play against because I was actually skeptical that the Suns were going to beat him, but they did. And I know James roasted me for it because he's a Suns fan, so of course he's going to be biased towards this team, which is a fair point. Now you see we have 2020 hindsight, and you see that they beat him in 6 games, not in 7. I had LeBron in 7 again. I had LeBron in 7, so I'm going to get my first thoughts real quick because it is really hard to see not LeBron not in the playoffs, but also he does not have a good supporting cast, as we talked about. Kuzma, Schroeder, THT
as well. Yeah, THT.
Yeah, they're all
none of his pieces were playing even like mediocre.
Yeah, and look at him. You saw him walk out like halfway through the fourth quarter. He just gave up.
He just gave up, dude.
Like,
which honestly, that like rattled me.
That rattled me because like you see him carry the Cleveland Cavaliers with nobody's about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah,
and now
even
he's
if, like I know he's too old to like really carry a team like that again, but I feel like it's just such a bad look to like leave like that in the middle of the game.
It is.
Like, your team's down. It's an elimination game. Like I don't know. It's just like very.
You would see LeBron out there fighting to get his team back into contention.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's very unlike him. I think it was really strange.
Yeah. Again, I don't think LeBron's going to be like that next year. I think the Lakers are going to make some big moves in the offseason to try to get him another piece or some more bench pieces that are good and then trade away all the bad pieces, of course.
Yeah, they just got to get rid of people, honestly.
Kuzma.
Got to get rid of Kuz.
Dude, they should have tried to. I thought, back when the AD trade happened, I really thought they should have traded Kuzma while his value was high and keep Ingram or Ball. Yeah, I think Lonzo Ball actually low-key would have been a fun person to pair with LeBron. So that's like I think back when that trade happened, I think I was hoping they were keep Lonzo. So that was my little thought on that. Yeah, again, Lakers, it was obvious why they lost. There was nothing really much to talk about. It's just sad to see LeBron not in the playoffs, and it also makes. Also, have you seen this thing it's more of a small thing that like people are going to critique, but like everyone's saying, oh, this playoffs is going to suck. Oh, Joker winning the MVP is pointless because LeBron ain't the MVP or something like that. Or like LeBron's not in the playoffs. That means this playoffs to be more boring. Like not many like people. Every like ESPN like guys or a lot of like a big media guys are like, yeah, LeBron or like if LeBron's not in the shit. Yeah, if LeBron's not in the playoffs are not going to be as fun to watch, and I think that's false. But that's
honestly, I've had so much fun watching these playoffs so far.
Yeah, I think most NBA fans will agree with us.
Yeah, like I don't think there hasn't been just off the top of my head right now the series that I've been watching. I like haven't really been bored at all.
Exactly.
It's been exciting. Yeah, like all the teams are like it looks like they're playing hard. I honestly I do not like Trae Young, but I like watching the Hawks kind of just like torch the East. And they weren't supposed to at all.
Set the East on fire.
Yeah, they're literally torching not everybody, but yeah, I think it's been really exciting playoffs. So if you think that, not you specifically, but general NBA population, if you think that LeBron not being in the playoffs is going to make it boring, just turn the TV on, man. I think you're sorely mistaken.
Tell all the ESPN and all these like big media heads because I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, it was just funny to hear that, and it was like, come on, man, you gotta watch some actual basketball, not just watch watch LeBron and who they play because that's just pointless.
Yeah, exactly. Like, are you really just like gonna be sitting there thinking like, oh, LeBron's gonna win another chip? Like, that's not fun.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not a LeBron fanboy. I'm an NBA fanboy. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's speaking of the games, let's talk about it's an interesting story that came out, Nets versus Bucks, and you can talk about it a lot. Bucks are getting swept like the Heat were in the last last round.
Yeah, I don't know
So
what's going on with the Bucks. Actually, I know exactly what's going on.
mhm.
Nobody can guard Kevin Durant. It's just not possible. Watching him play, I mean, he's breaking through double teams. He's passing out of double teams. He's tall as hell. He's like a 7-foot, basically a guard. He moves like a guard.
Mhm.
And Giannis is just not able to guard him for whatever reason, which I think is bizarre because Giannis is the reigning MVP and Defensive Player of the Year.
Mhm.
Except for as of like tonight, I think they named Rudy Gobert Defensive Player of the Year for this
Yeah.
season.
And
But
MVP is Joker as well last night.
which I was super happy about. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Bucks because I was nervous going in with the Bucks because I didn't think that it was going to be like this at all. I was like expecting like a hard fought 7-game series, like 6 or 7 games. And one of the main pieces that I was looking at was Drew Holiday being able to like, because he's a great defensive player, one of the best defensive guards in the league. And I thought he was going to give our guards a lot of problems, but Kyrie is still playing well. James Harden has been out, and KD isn't guarded by Drew Holiday. And even if he is, he shoots right over him.
Yep.
So the Bucks are having a really hard time defending this Nets team. And the Nets bench players are also turning up. Mike James is playing well. Bruce Brown's playing
Mike James.
well.
Wait, did you see that meme? Is like Mike James, like bro, who the F is the like who the F is
like
playing?
Who are these people? I texted you the other day. I was watching the Nets game and I was like, for the first time this season, some guy checked in and I was like, who are you? I've never
all of NBA Twitter was like, who is this guy?
Yeah, like seriously, because
scored 10 points. 10 points
like
on the
49.
I think game two, yeah.
Yeah, he had like 10 points or something like that. But yeah, dude, like all the bench pieces for the Nets are coming together really nice, which I wasn't expecting at all because I thought that we traded our entire bench over for James Harden. But
yep.
I think a lot of credit needs to go to Steve Nash as well. I think he's been coaching the Nets very well. They're doing an amazing job. Obviously, they have a lot of talent, but I mean, just the way that they're playing, I think you can't just attribute. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I think obviously it's a lot on KD, Kyrie, and Harden just being amazing players. But yeah, I think a lot of it comes from Steve Nash as well, because we see when the bench unit comes out for the Nets, it's not a complete blowout on the other side. You know what I mean? Like, because I was expecting this season to be, okay, we have to outscore the hell out of whatever team we're playing when our big three are on the floor. And then we kind of just take what we can get when the bench is on. But that's not been the case at all. The bench players are playing great. And I love it. I love what I'm seeing.
Yeah. My quick thing is that, of course, you mentioned it. So they're not playing with Harden. Steve Nash gives a lot. I'm giving Steve Nash a lot more credit than I used to, because I had major doubts that the Nets were going to play well with Steve Nash, but they have. So good job for him. Second of all, Joe Harris is still playing amazing. Bruce Brown's still playing amazing.
I can't even believe I forgot about him.
Yeah, you forgot about him because KD's playing so good. Second of all, why do they have PJ Tucker on KD when they should be having Giannis on KD 24/7? That's one thing I could see that could be a fault of the Bucks. Second of all, they're playing this weird. I saw them a couple times playing this weird zone that's allowing basically KD to just pull up anywhere he wants to make, because the zone has a few pockets that are, of course, every zone has a few weak spots, and KD is a sniper from everywhere around the court. So why are you playing a zone with KD?
I think I also saw that they were running like some kind of box thing or whatever.
Exactly.
And I was like, are we watching college? Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, that made no sense.
We saw the Heat last year do a box against Giannis, and it worked because Giannis can't really shoot. But you can't play a box against some guy who, like you said, is a sniper. He'll torch you from anywhere on the court. You can't give him any sort of opening, especially with his length. He's 7 feet tall, like you just can't give him that kind of space. Because if who's also 7 feet, basically 7 feet tall? Giannis, who should be guarding KD. Who should be guarding KD, reigning defensive player of the year from last year. So I don't get it, honestly. It's been really weird, but I'm happy with it as a Nets fan. I'm loving what our KD is doing.
And I'm surprised they're giving Brook Lopez this much time on the court, because I think the running No, they're still running Blake Griffin, but like, what do you really need Blake Griffin, like Brooke Lopez to guard Blake Griffin? You could put PJ Tucker on him and run a small ball line. I don't know, man. I don't know how to fix this thing. Budenholzer has to figure it out because I'm not the coach.
He's got to do something else.
He figured out how to stop the Heat. I'm sure he can get a couple games out of the Nets before he gets eliminated. Because I'm assuming that my little prediction is that the Nets are going to win in 6.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a sweep, and I don't even want it to be a sweep, honestly, because that's like not as exciting. I want to see like a hard fought battle. I was expecting like some crazy battle between, the Nets big three and then Giannis and Drew Holiday. That's what I was expecting.
Yeah, Middleton. I would say even a big three because I think Middleton's been playing really well personally. So I guess obviously we mentioned a few things that were wrong. They did wrong, obviously playing a box and having PJ Tucker on KD for like half of the times, which is weird. Not half of the time, but point being, they still matched up PJ Tucker on KD, which is dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it's just Bucks need to figure it out in the next couple games, especially at home. They got the next 2 games at home, so they better figure it out. And
I think they can come out and win this game 3 at home. The Bucks can, just because I think they're gonna have, like, my prediction is Giannis is gonna kind of slap himself in the face and be like, okay, like we gotta like buckle the hell down, and like figure out what's going on. I think that, he might be able to go into beast mode for like a couple games, but I don't know, dude, it's going to be really tough for him because he can't shoot. Like, I don't know. Yep. It's really hard to be a good NBA player and not shoot,
Exactly. And he still has a jump shot problem, just like Ben Simmons, and it's going to hurt him. But again, they have
problem as well. Both Ben Simmons and Giannis are having massive free throw problems, like so bad.
Yeah. It is funny that the last thing I want to mention that the Bucks have decent shooters like on the team. They got Pat Connaughton, Drew Holiday can make shots, Middleton can make shots, and Brent Forbes. That's who I'm thinking about.
PJ Tucker's been like leading the league in corner threes. Not recently, but I know he led the league for like a couple seasons.
Yeah.
So they have good shooters. Yeah, Giannis needs to drive and kick it it out.
And basically, I think that'll force Steve Nash to basically make a game plan to make an example, like shrink the floor, make a box zone formation that'll allow him to stop Giannis, which will allow, again, the shooters to get open. That's kind of the game plan you need to run with Giannis, like, because he's so unstoppable. I don't think KD can stop him, so they definitely have to play smaller.
We were talking about it before. KD has 1 inch on him, but Giannis has at least 50 pounds.
Yep.
I know Giannis is like 240. I don't know what KD's weight is off the top of my head, but I can't imagine it's
anywhere close to that.
Higher than like 190. Honestly,
let me see. I'm actually gonna look that right now. Okay,
yeah, look it up because I think 190 is like highballing it.
Giannis is 242.
Yeah, so he's a big ass dude.
KD is he's 240. KD's 240.
What?
Giannis only has 2 to 3 pounds on him at most.
He's 240?
Yeah, he's 240.
How is that even possible? He looks like a stick.
Yeah, he's 240 pounds. I'm gonna double check this right now because that does not look right.
There's no way.
Yeah. So you learn something new that KD is basically the same like size. Yeah, 242 for Giannis. Yeah, so basically he has 2 pounds on Giannis. Think about that. That's probably. I guess it doesn't help. I guess Giannis doesn't have the size advantage. Maybe he has the muscle advantage, but he doesn't have the size advantage. That's kind of funny. Yeah, you seeing it?
That blows my mind.
You learned something new.
I didn't look up KD's weight at all prior to this conversation.
You just assumed he's
looking
small.
At him, I assumed that he couldn't even break 200. But Giannis only has a couple pounds on him. So honestly, that's probably a part of it because KD can, I mean, he is, like a stick figure, but 240 pounds, obviously, he can body Giannis a little bit in the paint. So it's going to be hard. It's been hard for Giannis to score. So that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah. It's just kind of funny we saw that. Like, it's just funny to see that, like, the last, like, I guess that's the closing remark. KD is heavier than you think.
Yeah. No, seriously. Like, I don't know anybody thought, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just an idiot, but I did not think that he would be even close to 240. I didn't even think he was going to break 200.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was like 190.
7 feet, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the last game. I mean, that's the last video. Unless you had any other closing Nets remarks for the rest of the series.
No, not really. Yeah, just Budenholzer needs to figure out a defensive game plan that's actually going to work, and an
Or else
offensive game plan. Like,
Yep.
Bucks are a mess right now.
Or else the Nets are going to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I think a lot of people are predicting the Nets to be the I guess NBA champion at this rate.
Yeah, I mean, I know I saw the like the sports book odds for, I think it was DraftKings or something. Nets are at like plus 240 right now, and then the next highest team is like plus 500 or something.
Do you know what that team is?
I think it was the Sixers.
That makes sense.
Might
Yeah.
be the Sixers. I could be wrong, but point is that the Nets are heavily favored to win the championship. And after the Harden trade, I think I've said this a million times, if we don't win the championship, it's going to be very embarrassing for us.
I think Brooklyn might burn down. I think the streets might burn down.
Yeah,
if they
and
don't
then we're
win.
going to get clowned on by all the Knicks fans. It's going to be bad.
But the Knicks fans got eliminated by the Hawks in the first round,
Yeah,
with the
and
Knicks
Trae
having
Young
the best defense in the league.
Rent free in every New Yorker's head right now.
But yeah, speaking of the Hawks, do you want to talk? Okay, I'm going to ask this live, but do you want to talk about Hawks versus Sixers, or I guess currently the Suns versus Nuggets is playing right now? But do you want to talk about any of those games? Minus that CP3 block Composo, but we don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, we don't got to worry about that. Honestly, I think that the Nuggets Suns matchup kind of speaks for itself a little bit. It's really going to be up to those, just however each of those big pieces play, which obviously is pretty obvious. But no, like, I think that series really does speak for itself, because the Suns have the capability to win, the Nuggets have the capability to win, and it's like a massive toss-up right now.
Well, not really a toss-up right now, because the Suns are up against the Nuggets 95-70.
95-70.
Yeah, it's 25 points in the fourth quarter.
So yeah, the Nuggets are in trouble, but
the Nuggets are in trouble.
They're home next game, so we'll see what happens. But I did want to talk about the Sixers just really quick, because Ben Simmons and just how mediocre, I don't know even the word for it, he seems to be playing.
Well, I wouldn't say mediocre.
I mean,
because
no, he's putting up good numbers, dude, but like at the end of games, he's such a liability at the free throw line. The Knicks were not the Knicks. Who were they playing? Who were the Sixers playing?
The
Wizards.
Hawks?
Yeah, no,
Wizards.
In the last round. Yeah, the Wizards, literally, it was like a hack-a-shack kind of thing. Like they would just foul Ben Simmons, put him on the free throw line, and he misses too.
Oh my God! All right, I'm gonna give you the stat right now, because this will help prove your point. In the playoffs, Ben Simmons is averaging, his percentage at the free throw line this playoffs is 32%. Oh my God! Oh my indeed!
Oh my indeed! That is 32%. So bad. How many attempts does he have per game?
Oh my God! He's averaging 5.7, so basically 6 attempts per game.
That's terrible. Like,
oh my indeed!
Hitting like 1 to 2 free throws a game.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know who's carrying that team? Tobias Harris is carrying that team for sure. I mean, Joel is doing his thing. I'm not going to discredit Joel, but Tobias Harris is definitely that number 2 option that Ben Simmons.
He definitely stepped, like, him and Ben Simmons kind of switch places.
Yep. That's why I'm saying the Ben Simmons trade might be a thing.
Liability now.
The Ben Simmons trade might be a thing, because look what Tobias Harris is doing. So
yeah, no, they definitely are going to want to keep Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris together. And yeah, they need to get rid of Ben Simmons. He does not work well with Embiid at all. Ben Simmons can't shoot the ball.
Every NBA analyst / anybody fan has been like, yeah, we all agree on this type of, like, exactly. They don't work well together.
All you have to do is watch one game, and you can see that those two do not work together at all. Because they have a very similar play style, except Embiid can shoot better.
Yeah.
Like, Embiid can shoot better than the guard, you know? And granted, Ben Simmons is 6'10", but still.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the only thing I would say is that Joel Embiid's more injury prone, but I think he's been healthy all this season, right? Like a couple minor injuries.
He was out for the regular season for a little bit, and I think he left one of the Wizards games early for an injury. But I think
that's right.
For the playoffs.
Yeah, people were saying that he was gonna be potentially out for the Hawks series because I think it's calf or something. I don't know, something in his legs.
I don't know what injury. Yeah.
Point being that people were saying that he's gonna be out for at least 4 or 5 of the Hawks games, and they're saying Hawks are gonna win because Joel ain't gonna be there.
Yeah, but
But
now he's here and he's been playing well.
and he's dominating. But yeah, I mean that's really it for the other games. That like quick comments. I mean, this playoff has been very fun to watch. I think it's one of the most fun playoffs I've watched in a while. Considering we had the Clippers series, that was fun. Celtics, of course, we tried our best. I was there live, tried our best.
Yeah, no,
Nets
and
have been playing.
that was a good series, honestly.
I think it was a good warm up for the Nets, is what I'm gonna place that as.
It was a warm up for the Nets, but also I think it puts like the Celtics, it kind of puts you guys like into perspective a little bit in that like, all right,
we're supposed to lose.
Here's what we got to do. Well, I mean, yeah, you were supposed to lose, but like here's what we got to do, for next season. And I think
when Jaylen Brown gets healthy, that's the first thing.
When people are healthy, and like I said at the beginning, Brad Stevens being in the front office, I think the Celtics are in a really good spot right now. They have a lot to look forward to for the next season.
And if we get Damian Lillard,
even more so, could be
championship, could be a championship contender.
They would absolutely become a championship contender as soon as Dame gets there.
Yeah. 100%. And let's see, what was there? I thought there was an interesting story that came out of the NBA. Is it something about Bradley Beal? No, crap. There was someone who wanted to get traded, and I forgot who it was. But I think it's funny enough. I think it was like either Jimmy Butler or Bradley Beal wanted to get have potential thoughts of getting wanted to be traded. Jimmy Butler potentially, yeah.
I hope not. I love Jimmy on the Heat.
I like that too. I just like. Again, I forgot who it was because there's a lot of interesting stories the past 2 weeks, but we didn't really get to talk about on the pod. And it's just a lot of playoff stuff as well. We've been so busy, and it's just funny enough we're recording this at like 11:30
right now.
11:30. The Suns game is still going.
Yeah.
Let's look at the update.
Busy boys. James isn't even here because he's probably
sleeping. But yeah, I want to try to keep again. I'm surprised. Like we're so busy, but I really want to try to pump these up because it's playoff season and it's so many fun things to talk about.
Yeah.
And by next week, we should have. Let's see. By next week, we should have basically almost most of the games in round 2 be done or like basically decided at that point, unless it ends up being like a Clippers Mavs where it ends up being Game 7. But I think most of these games are pretty clear cut for the most part.
Yeah, so. I don't know, dude. I'm thinking Game 7s could be in abundance for the second round.
I don't know. Only one I see is Clippers Jazz. It's the only one I see.
I see Clippers Jazz. If the Bucks can figure their shit out, then I think that they can go to a 7-game series with the Nets. But as of right now, the Nets are torching them. But yep. I can see the Hawks and Philly going to Game 7 as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I know. I genuinely do see that because
you okay. Hold on. This is the last thing we're going to talk about. Like, explain why you think that could be a Game 7. So I do not have hope that the Hawks. I think I have the Hawks or I have the Sixers in 5 or 6. So
all right. So yeah, let me explain myself because it may be a little bit of a hot take, but I can see that game going to Game 7 because we've seen Trae Young is playing very well. He's not scoring as much as he usually does, but he's facilitating. He's kicking it out to his shooters. He can hit the floater like exceptionally well. He can hit it over Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Like him driving into the paint is not really a problem for him at all. He can lob it up to Collins or Capella. So yeah, Trae Young has a lot of pieces surrounding him. Plus Bogdanovich is shooting very well. Gallinari is shooting well. Kevin Huerter even shot well last game. So I think with all these pieces like coming together, it could be a fluke, where like all those like a perfect storm kind of thing where all the pieces come together. But if they continue to play like that, then I can definitely see them going to Game 7, especially if Ben Simmons is at the free throw line as much as he should be.
What, Ben Simmons free throws would be the downfall of the Sixers? That'd be kind of funny.
And
that would be the funniest storyline to come out of the playoffs.
That would be so funny. And if it is, dude, like
Philly's burning to the ground. Philly's burning to the ground. Dude, you've seen the Philly parades and like how bad Philly fans are. Like, imagine that city burned to the crisp because of the Ben Simmons free throws.
Like I can literally picture it right now. It's like 0 seconds. Ben Simmons has to make one free throw, like sends the game into overtime or, wins the game or whatever. He bricks both of them. He totally does. He totally broke both free throws. And then Philadelphia is now burnt to the ground because they're so.
And now Matt will have to find a new home.
Exactly. Yeah. Then Parrish is gonna have to find somewhere else to live.
FYI, our boy Parrish lives near Philly, and I think his town might as well get burned down with it. So, but yeah, like that's it for the podcast.
His plan is if the series comes down to free throws, then yeah, Philly is in a lot of
Screwed.
Screwed. In a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's it for the podcast. You can tell our energy started to dive a little bit just because I think we talked about everything we wanted to talk about. And it was a lot of fun, and hopefully there's more stuff to talk about next week because maybe some team gets eliminated. We might learn some new stories from the NBA because all these other teams that are out in the playoffs have some off-season moves going. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. There's not going to stop, and we're going to hopefully keep this podcast going because last week was kind of just a me filler podcast, but I think this week, Happy 20 podcast.
Is this our 20th episode?
This is our 20th episode.
Hey,
I forgot to mention that our first one. But anyone who made it to this far in the podcast, happy 20th, because we are going to keep this going. We got 20 episodes in. We got many more to come.
This far, I don't know how you can listen to us talk for this.
Hey man, some people are. I'm still getting constant views. I'm surprised. Like even if I don't promote
I think I get a couple of those views, or at least one of those views per week, is my mother. I think a couple of those views are coming from my mother.
Hey, by the way, we do have TikTok now, and one of the TikToks did blow up relative to most of our other content. So compared
to like the usual 40 that we get.
No, we usually get a constant like 170 to 200, and then we got one that was like 700. So I say that blew up.
That was the intro that you posted, right?
No. It was the what was it? I gotta tell you which one it is. The Tatum scoring 60 thing. It was Booker versus Tatum, and then like James being all like, "Oh, Booker's gonna be next Kobe or some crap." I was like, no. It's like no. Oh my god, yeah, it was great. But TikTok is another fun thing. So if you want to check out some dumb content, that me editing some dumb stuff from the podcast, it's there.
Whenever we say something dumb, it goes right to TikTok.
Right to TikTok. But yeah, until next week, we got so much to talk about. So till next week, boys. See ya. Peace.